This idea of personal power, I think, is something that's really going to come more and more into the fore as we carry on this transition. And it's kind of like, well, when's it going to be over? I'm not really sure it's going to be over anytime soon, to be honest. However, it's my feeling is that this year is all about bringing in this new energy, and whether you call it a new earth or a new structure. Some people are talking about 5D, like the fifth dimension. A lot of people are talking about a kind of shift from a quite a dense carbon-based body, which is 3D. So essentially it's kind of like how we view the world through our five senses. And then the 5D is more like taking it into a different dimension quality, which also includes how we perceive or how we intuit. So for many of us doing Reiki, we've been working with this energy actually for years. But for the majority of the population who don't do energy work, don't do anything like this, it's very new. So for many of us, we are actually all at the kind of leading edge of it. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way at all. I'm just meaning it in terms of we are more familiar with this energy. And as it comes in, as we start to embody it, it's actually easier because we already understand energy. We already understand, like, when we go through an energy shift. And all that means is, like, when you do Reiki for yourself, you have insights. And as you have the insights, you can feel it physically in your body. That aha moment is a physical reaction that you have, like like this, right? And there's something that opens in your system. Your heart chakra opens, and you can almost feel old ways of being literally disappearing, like in seconds, right? It just disappears. And this opportunity for us to step into this energy more and more is what 2020 is all about. The difference is that before we had to work at it. So us Reiki people, us energy healers, all that little band of crazy people who were doing all this kind of energy work, we had to really work hard in order to feel the benefits, in order to release stuff. And there's whole industries built up with this, releasing your trauma, inner work, all this kind of stuff. And there's all this kind of cathartic ways of doing it. My feeling, and this again, it's just a feeling in terms of what I'm also experiencing, just looking at the people around me. And I don't know if you've noticed this yourself, but people who are not into this work are gaining some very deep insights. They might be friends, family, colleagues. I talk to clients who are in the corporate industry. They're not interested in Reiki, and yet they're talking about energy shifts and insights exactly the same way that I talk about it. I mean, it's weird talking to people now. I talk to my neighbor who doesn't do any of this kind of stuff. And some of the languaging that they're using in terms of re-entering life with the same insights that I've gained. So my feeling is that the biggest difference in all of this stuff that we're experiencing now is the breadth of it. It's not just us at the top doing the energy. And by top, I don't mean that. I mean, just like in the energy field, shall we say, it's not just the energy field workers who are experiencing this. It is population wide. And that population wide is waking people up. So even though there'll be many of us who are looking at some of our politicians last year and going like, oh, now it's across the board. People are just wondering what on earth is going on and how we've got ourselves into these situations. And that is going to make a difference. So whereas before we had to work quite hard, we don't have to work quite so hard. This idea of rebirth, this idea of just being able to drop stuff, this idea of just coming into a greater sense of purpose, for example, or a stronger sense of, actually, I am allowed to speak my truth. I am allowed to express myself. This is all not only coming to us, but it's coming to everybody around us as well. Like, you look at Black Lives Matters. I mean, that it's here for a reason. All of these kind of statements of cause or statements of expression, it's no accident that it's all happening now. So I think part of our job is to hold space for this, but also model it. So it's to start doing this in our own lives so that people around us start to feel the possibility of it, and starting to divert attention. So it's very easy to get caught in the negative, right? I mean, that's everywhere around us. You just turn on the news, it's like, wah. And our job is to not dismiss that, because that joins that whole rhetoric. I'm actually ignoring it. I mean, like, completely ignoring it. And I'm just doing my own thing. And that's kind of what, when we talked before, I don't know if you remember, several months ago now, we talked about the split in the timeline. And this is what it is, right? It's like, I'm just going to keep doing my thing. And you guys on this timeline can keep going into fear and despair and whatever else you want to do. But I'm going to completely ignore it because it doesn't exist. And it might sound like you're in some form of denial, but in my experience, I haven't missed it at all. I mean, it's like it has no purpose in my life to go into fear or despair or to start having some political debate with someone. You know, it's like completely a waste of energy. And so I'm ignoring it. And when people want to start engaging me in this kind of conversation, I ignore them too. I mean, I'm being that, I'm just like, you don't exist. It's just like, it's not my problem. Go talk to someone else. And my feeling is that by showing people this possibility, even if they do then turn around and say, you're in denial, you're this, you're that, the other, okay, whatever. But you are still surviving. In fact, you're thriving. So if that's their definition of denial, I, for one, will take it, because I'm not feeling the same level of fear, despair, panic, concern even about what's going on as somebody who is so-called not in denial and looking at the newspapers and looking at the news and following the politicians every day. So I think this whole timeline split is where are you putting your energy? And the forward momentum, looking forwards into how can I express myself into this next stage, right? Because now everything's starting to open up again. Are you going to fall back into old patterns or not? This is a very critical time for us to make a decision as to how we're going to start spending our time, our energy, our money, where we're going to start putting it, and what are we for? Like, what do we stand for? And then whatever it is that we stand for, this is where we start to put our energy. And that includes money, it includes voice, it includes what we share on social media, everything. So everything as we step forwards is about, this is me. And that's all you have to worry about. And it's very, very powerful. This is personal power. So you don't have to convince anybody. If they just disagree with you, you can just literally ignore them. I'm not sure that this is great psychological advice, but it's working really well for me. It's like, I'm just going to ignore you. I'm just going to keep doing my thing. And those people who resonate with you will come with you. And then you have this lovely little group like we've got, right? That we just kind of meet and we have a great time and we expand each other's energies in a very positive, a really supportive way. Right? Nobody in this group has to convince anybody else of anything, because we just know that we're just doing our own thing and everybody else is giving us a thumbs up and going, yeah, let's just all do our own thing. And I think that the more we gather in this momentum, the more we will find our place. And everybody has a very natural place in life to be. We don't have to fight for it. We don't have to grab at it. It's all just a very natural extension of life itself. Right? She thinks. Who knows? That's what I think at the moment. I think a lot of strange things. So what we're going to do is let's experiment with just coming into the ease of being ourselves. And I'm not quite sure where that's going to take us. Let's see. When we do the attunement, let's bring that focus and intention, that our intention for this meditation, this intention for our healing together, is to give ourselves permission to be fully ourselves. That's it. And then through that, we will do a little guided meditation. Now, for anybody who is not interested in listening to the guided meditation, you can just stick me on mute and then retune in about 25 minutes. And actually, when you see my camera go back on, then you know that we're done with that. And you can just sit and send Reiki during that time. And for the rest of you who are listening, you are also going to be sending Reiki. If you're Reiki 2 or above, you just tune in. If you're new to Reiki, you're just bringing your intention, your compassion, and your energy to bear to everybody in this group as well. So it's kind of like we create a container, and then within that container, all of us contributes our energy, and that amplifies the energy for everyone else. Group work is so powerful for that. And then it's kind of like we fill up our container, so everybody gets full, and then we have spare, and that spare is what then kind of expands out into our universe. So into us and our families, our environment, and for each of us doing that, and then for the greater vibrational whole as well, because obviously we're all part of the universe and we're all part of what's going on here as well. So we're actually working on many, many levels. So I'm just going to mute myself. Sorry, I'm not going to mute myself. That would be counterproductive. I'm going to stop my video. And I'm just going to get you to come into your body for a couple of breaths. And you're just going to bring your attention and focus up to the crown, the top of the head, imagining a lotus. And you're just going to open that up. And as you do so, you might notice a bit of tingling on the top of your head, or perhaps some pressure or light. And we're going to invite the attunement. So anybody who is sharing a Reiki attunement, who can give a Reiki attunement to the group, you're just bringing your attention to all of the participants who are joining us today into one big attunement into the container, lots of bodies. And for those of you receiving, you're bringing your hands into prayer pose, into Gasho, hands together in front of the heart, in the center of the chest. You might feel a little bit of tingling in your hands as you invite the Reiki in. And then bringing your hands onto your body somewhere. So for me personally, I like having one hand over my heart center, right in the center of my chest. And then I like to have another hand deep under my belly button in the sacral area. Doesn't matter which hand is on which. We're just taking a moment to come in here. And if you're sending Reiki to the group, you're just tuning in now to everybody And the intention is to just allow everybody to be exactly as they are. And as you contemplate what that might feel like, you're also just checking into your own inner sense. You can use the breath. As you exhale, you're just exhaling any stress or tension in the body. And as you inhale, you just imagine that Reiki energy coming in through the crown, all the way down through your body. So you're inhaling light and exhaling stress or tension. Bringing your attention as deep as you can into the body. So you might notice it around the heart center, perhaps even some tingling or sensations coming from your hand. And then you're going to drop even deeper down into the belly. And just experiencing yourself in this moment, relaxed, at ease, nothing to do, nowhere to go. And in this moment of just being yourself and knowing that there is nothing at all you need to change, there's no relationships that need fixing, there's no job that needs improving, there's nothing right now that you need to do. And that doesn't mean that it won't change or shift in the future. But we're just talking about right now, in this moment. You're just meeting yourself. And you're dropping all of the thoughts that you need to do anything at all. And you might have thoughts in the background giving you a long list, giving justifications. And you can just ignore it. That doesn't mean push it away or resist it or tell it it's wrong. It simply means ignore it. and come back into your center, into the heart space. And you notice the beautiful lotus on top of your head is open. The light is streaming in through your crown, illuminating your whole inner body, lighting you up. And as it goes down into the belly and deep into the pelvis, just notice how expansive you are. And we noticed in our Friday meditations that there seemed to be a new quality coming in, a very fine crystal structure. And some people noticed it as quite a large, like a quartz crystal around the whole body. Other people noticed almost a more gaseous state of millions of tiny crystals sparkling. For others, it was more fluid, like a bubble. But just explore within yourself if you can notice a new energy, or perhaps an energy that you hadn't noticed before, that is allowing you to be very clear. And maybe the structure of the crystals is giving off different colors, maybe rainbows, maybe simply refracting the white light. This is the new earth structure, the new human structure that we've been talking about, the 5D dimension. And it carries great lightness, great spaciousness. And as you get used to this new structure over the coming weeks and months and even years, it will allow you great clarity, and the ability to know what it is that you truly want. Not what you've been told you want or what you feel you should want. But actually what is in your heart's desire, what is in your mind as inspired action, and what is deep in your belly as potential manifestation. And these three areas will become more and more clear to you. And you simply have to move forwards, expressing yourself, expressing your intention, manifesting through action. And simply ignoring everything else. It is not relevant to you. It is not helpful to you. It will slow you down. And it is simply not required anymore. And as you are investigating this new structure, you might still notice there's a lot of chattering in the mind, or perhaps tension in the body. Well, this is perfectly fine. Just let it be. Simply by acknowledging the tension, acknowledging the chatter, you can just bring it into your awareness, accept it. There is no special way to be. There is not even any requirement to be blissful and calm and meditative like. You can be deeply connected with yourself and still busy in your mind. These are not mutually exclusive. The question is where you are bringing your focus. Are you engaging with the busyness or the tension or other people's anxiety? Or are you focused on your inner strength, your inner clarity, this beautiful new energy that surrounds you, rebuilds you, with its limitless possibilities and lightness of being? Just turning up the dial now with the light. You could be literally imagining yourself turning on the light stronger and stronger as it comes in through the crown. You might also bring your attention to everybody else on this meditation today and just notice how they're also getting brighter. You might see the lights behind your eyes getting brighter as you do this. Your hands buzzing maybe with the Reiki. We're just holding the intention for everyone now for a blast of Reiki and healing and lightness. And in this intensity, you can ask for any healing that you wish for you personally or for loved ones. You can also ask for help releasing anything that you find difficult, old habits, old relationships, old toxic patterns. Just inviting them all into the light to be released back into the universe. Perhaps you just notice they transform in front of your eyes into the new crystalline structure, going from the very dark or murky density that we used to carry around and just transforming into like a quartz, clear, crystalline structure. Just like that. So easy and effortless. And sometimes as we move forwards, it can feel difficult when nobody around us appears to understand. And this is why these communities like this one are so important, where you can come together, be strengthened by each other. All of us are shining our individual lights outwards, but we also have the strength of knowing that all of us are also moving in the same timeline. We've all chosen to move forwards rather than get caught in the old structures. And by moving forwards first, we allow others to follow with much more ease and grace. And by moving together, we also make it easier for ourselves. Joining forces, joining energy and light, commitment. Just taking a moment now to feel the gratitude of everybody who has joined this meditation today, sharing their energy, sharing their healing, their love, compassion. There is so much strength in our numbers. Giving a deep internal bow to everybody on this group. Just bringing in your energies now, bringing them back into your own aura, into your own body. And just noticing the beautiful lotus on the top of your head is just closing very slightly. Just to contain the energy within yourself, you're going to start feeling into the boundaries of your skin at the top of your head, noticing your face, the back of your head, down into the neck and shoulders. Noticing down your arms, your fingers, down into the chest, your back, all the way into the pelvis, the legs. Paying attention to the feet, giving your toes a little wiggle, giving your fingers a little stretch. Bringing your hands over your head, giving them a good shake, shaking all the way down into the spine, wiggling your bottom on the seat. Giving yourselves a few nice deep breaths and opening your eyes whenever you're ready.